No mai, hoki mai to the Planting Seeds podcast, and this next episode is one of my absolute favorites ever on the Planting Seeds podcast, and it's with Phil Paikea. His story is one that we may be familiar with in the movie Once We're Warriors, but Phil Paikea is a changed man, and what his whānau would say, and his community, is that he is a safe man. His mahi, safe man, safe families, and he's helping other tāne reintegrate out of prison and back into life alongside their whānau. And a big mihi to hui tāne, papa hone, okena for making this all possible. Now, I hope you enjoy this wholesome, healing, transformative kōrero with Phil Paikea. Tēnā tātou Planting Seeds whānau, welcome back to the show. Here at Hui Tāne, and have someone sitting across from me by the name of Phil Paikea, who's just had an awesome kōrero and has been doing some meaningful mahi throughout his journey. And it's not for me to share that. So kia koe Phil, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show. Looking forward to the kōrero that's about to happen. And we're here at this kaupapa, Hui Tāne, and you do a lot of mahi with our tāne, family violence, suicide prevention, working in prisons, working with whānau who are integrating back into society, let's say. What's brought you here specifically to Hui Tāne?
Well, the invitation from Hone Harawira, really, and so Hone knows the work. He knows the work that I do. And I guess he saw the value in getting me to come along and share my nuggets of truth that I've gathered over the years and applied them to my life. Yeah, and that's kept me clean and of drugs and violence and everything that went with that dysfunction.
And can you talk a little bit about your journey within violence and addictions, and what was that period of your life like?
Yeah, I guess, so I was born in 1958. We were brought up in a time where the pubs closed at 6 o'clock. A lot of our dads knocked off work at 5. So, they drank as much alcohol as they could before closing time. And it was there that when our dad came home drunk, that created problems with our relationship and with us, scared of our dad. He created an atmosphere of fear in the home when he was in that state. But having said that, our dad was a hard-working man. We were not without kai or anything. We were well-fed. He was a good provider, clothed, all those sorts of things. But there were times where we were fearful of our dad.
Wow. And some of that fear as a young person, particularly if it's felt throughout the whole whānau. What did that do for you? Like, say you would get home after having some beersies, and were you already in defense mode? Were you already just trying to not, I guess, trigger him in ways? Or what were some of the responses?
You read the room. Good. Pretty good. So we knew what was coming, and our mum always challenged our dad. She didn't drink. And, when we heard the car come up the driveway and the way he talked to our mum, then we knew his mum's going to challenge him. So the next thing we did was the three of us, as my older brother, my little sister and me. So my little sister was middle. She was the youngest girl. And so we'd run into the room and jump on the bed and just cuddle together like this. And we were to say, I hope it doesn't say anything to Dad, because we know what's going to come. And then you hear the language, the swearing that starts first, and then the slap, and then the punch, and then the door slam, and our man wheelie down the driveway, disappear for 3 days. And then us kids have to go and pick our mum up and do the best we could to console her. Mind you, we're only young. So with those, and of course our dad would come home 3 days later, with a gift because he went back to the family farm, and his older brother dropped a beast, and his olive branch was half a beast. Bring it home, and then they're back into the honeymoon period, and all of us, happy, safe, and then for the next episode.
To the next one.
Yeah, so, when you mention that, when you watch Once Were Warriors, that's exactly how it was.
That cycle,
That cycle. But when they showed the scene of the kids running into the bedroom, the camera panned into the bedroom, and they're holding up the blanket like that. When I saw that movie, I got all emotional. It triggered me.
Wow.
Triggered me, because that was us. When you see that movie, there's a lot in that movie that was relevant for a lot of us.
During that time.
The parties, the violence, the sexual violence, the system where the police officers were white, the councillors were white, the judge was white, the lawyer was white, and the only Māori in there was in prison with the boys that he was trying to help. And then, of course, you had the gangs, and then you had drugs, all that. And at the end of that movie was a woman that made the stand to say that's enough. And then, of course, Jake, he hit the roof and talked about, don't give me that Māori, such and such. But if you watch that movie, there was a time where they were having a decent conversation before they're going to visit Boogie.
I remember.
They talked about her being Mrs. Lady Muck on the marae. And then that's where there was a disconnect between her family and his family, was that around the marae. So it was a disconnect for his culture right there. So if you study that movie, you'll capture it. And there was a woman that made the stand, like a lot of women do today, that cook a feed, make sure the kids are all done, and without the father present. So that spoke a lot to me, was that movie. That still happens today.
Seeing that, knowing your experience and then seeing it on screen, and was there a moment where before that movie, did you think about those times, or was it easier for you just to almost block it out and not really think about it?
Just blocked it out.
Yeah, and so seeing it on the screen just brought all of those memories back.
Yeah. They did, because the younger ones didn't get hit like us older ones, like myself and my older brother. When our father hit us, he slapped us with open hand, but he's, hard enough to send you skittling across the floor. Or if he was really angry, you'll pick up the kettle cord and you'd use that on us and leave marks on our bodies. And if we cried, you hear him say, well, what you crying for? Give you something to cry about. And it was then that even though our dad hurt us, we learned to bury that emotion. That we learned to bury it. And when my older brother and I became adults, when we got into fights, all that emotion that we buried came out in us. Yeah, so we didn't dare show outward emotion, but we cried on the inside.
And it came out in different ways and different forms of violence.
Came out
expression.
in my relationship with my wife, all that stuff. Yeah.
And I feel, getting to understand those parts of yourself is probably why you are so, I guess, heavily involved in the work that you do now, because there's intimate understanding of what it's like to be within those environments of violence. And you said that you went through moments of stepping into it yourself where you were perhaps violent yourself or in that addiction. Was that just because of what it is that you went through, and was that just because it was your norm? How did all that?
See, I was never nurtured by my dad, like I nurture my children now and my grandchildren. I mean, I'll never repeat to my grandchildren what I did to my children. and so I'm that dad that's present emotionally, physically, and mentally, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, like I said, I've got 6 daughters, so I know everything about netball. So, turned up to all their games, but when my son came along, that was my wife's job to look after the girls. And when my son was old enough to play rugby, well, I followed him right through his grades, became the manager of this club, and that was me investing my time into my son because, because I was that changed man. I changed the way I did things, and I had a spiritual moment.
Okay.
A wairua connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about that wairua connection?
I shared it inside the hui there, but yeah, it was my wife went to church, and only because she was asked to go by our neighbours, and she went to watch a couple of ex-gang members talk about their life, and they were from the United States of America, and African American and a Puerto Rican. And I never remember the names very well, Louis Palau and Billy Thomas, and they shared their life as gang members and how they changed their lives around. And then that really resonated for my wife because that's the sort of change she was wanting for me.
For you.
Yeah. So she decided to give up the alcohol and the drugs and decided to clean herself up. But, to be honest, my wife didn't have to do all that because she was already a good woman, stunning woman. And so she told me about this, and I didn't want anything to do with it. I said, well, you do you, and I'll do me. Yeah, so I carried on being a drunk, and then, I used to start fights with her to give me an excuse to go to the pub and spend the rent money and the kai money and come back 3 days later, just like my dad. Chuck a box of chocolates on the table and say those magic words. You know what they were?
What's that?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, magic words. She didn't want to hear sorry. She wanted to see it, feel it, so it was all that.
Those words are really, it's like a Band-Aid in a sense, or it's like how would you describe those words, I'm sorry, if they're being used all the time without the action? What would you?
Yeah, they're just words. There's no emotion. There's no emotion attached to it. It's just an in. This is a foot in the door. Intimacy. I've been away for 3 days. Chocolates, sorry, sex.
Yeah.
That's how I was thinking. But, there's more to it than that. When I did change the way I was doing things, and I did give up the drugs, and I did come away from the gang scene and did the best I could to tidy myself up. And but years later, I didn't realize my wife was dealing with historical trauma.
Wow.
Yeah.
So trauma from her childhood, or even
from
further,
me.
from you.
Yeah, from me. And when I was at those times when I came home after 3 days away, and I gave the chocolates and said sorry, and then initiated intimacy. Now, a few years ago, I attended a march against sexual violence that Calvin Davis, the Deputy Prime Minister then from Labour, he was part of that. And I went to tautoko him and Hone. We went up to Te Rerenga Wairua and started the march from there. And Hone was up there as well. And when we finished that march, there was a woman that come and talked to some of us men, and we were sitting enjoying a lunch, and she asked us to join us. And then she asked if she could ask a couple of questions, and I said, "Yeah, sure." She said, "How many of you men beat on your partners?" And so my two mates of 3 of us, and we are okay to share it. Oh, yeah, we did. yeah, we did that. Then she said, and how many of you men apologise to your wives? And then, we said we were sorry, gave her a box of chocolates and this, that, the other thing. And then she said, and how many of you men were intimate with your wives when you apologise for that? And then we didn't know how to answer that, but we answered it and said, yeah, we did that too. And then she said, who initiated the intimacy? And then we all said, oh, well, us. And then the next thing she said to us was, did she consent?
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's where it hit home for me. And we said, what? Consent? She goes, yes. And she spoke to us about marital rape.
Whoa.
Yeah, marital rape. And then...
and that's because there was no consent.
There was no consent.
Mm.
And so we started, sticking up for each other. Well, that's what we do. Hey, bro. And she says, yeah, that's what we do. And then when she explained it to us, I got it. And so I went to drop my mates off. Oh, we had to talk on the way back. He said, far out, bro. Did you get that? And I said, yeah, bro. Did you? I said, yeah. Well, I did it. So did I. So I rang up to my wife and said, oh, hey, babe, don't go to bed yet. Put the billy on and we'll have a cup of tea when you get home. I said, I need to talk to you about something. I've been challenged. I need to talk to you. So I got home. Billy was hot. Broke out the biscuits, sat down and I said, babe, I want you to be honest with me. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to be honest with me, okay? She said, yeah, okay. Then I said, do you remember those times I gave you a hiding? And then she went quiet. So flag number 1. She went quiet. And then I said, and then we were intimate. What did you think about that? Then she went quiet, and my wife, she never swears. Then she turned to me and she said to me, I just wanted you to finish what you were doing and get the fuck off me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I knew straight away she was holding on to that for all those years, without even saying nothing. And I just initiated it all the time without even thinking about her, So we had a good cry that night, both of us. And I apologized to her profusely, And so now it's consensual.
Mm.
And I wait for her to initiate intimacy. And I don't know if you've been into a stadium, when they start off a new game, all the fireworks start going off. That's what it's like when Mumsy's ready, when she's ready. Not me just doing it because us men, we can do it in the car, do it in the kitchen, do it in the bathroom, anytime, but women are more intimate. We had the caveman mentality.
It's going to run out.
Yeah. The caveman mentality. So I learned a lot, and I guess that's what made me change too, because I had a heart of stone. I was void of any form of empathy, and that came from me burying that empathy, and but when I had that encounter, the wairua encounter with the Matua Phil Paikea, he replaced that stony heart with a heart of flesh, to the point where I can get really emotional now. Even when I was talking there about my son, I could feel the tears welling up. And there are times when I go for a drive, if I'm coming away like this was Wananga, took me a couple of hours to get here, and I have that time alone in my car, in solitude, and I have time to reflect. And sometimes I think about my past, and then I smile with tears in my eyes, thinking I'm a content man because my family love me. My wife adores me, and life is good. I'm a safe man. And you only have to ask my children or my wife, am I safe? And they will tell you exactly how they feel about their papa, how my children feel about their dad, how my son-in-laws feel about their father-in-law, and how my wife thinks about me. I could say with hand on my heart, it's all positive. It's all good.
It has to be like one of the most powerful shares that I've ever had on this show. I feel that was amazing to be present with you in that moment and just to feel the emotions just well up within me just around how pivotal, their time was, but just your grace and being able to feel the challenge. But perhaps over the time that you had from then into your past and having that moment with your wife, so many moments probably led up into that created this beautiful moment between the two of you and your guys' union. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and just to spend some time just, enjoying and soaking that up, because that was just amazing, Phil. And a lot of the mahi you do now is, supporting other men, the kaupapas, safe men, safe families, and you've been part of this kaupapa for some time. And what are you seeing at the moment in some of our tāne who perhaps are in this unchangeable kind of mentality, perhaps because of their backgrounds? But what are you noticing through your perspective?
Well, angry. I see angry men, angry young fellas. Yeah, angry young fellas I see, but in their case, a lot of them had absent dads. No direction, no purpose, no one to nurture them, no one to cross them into adolescence. And it'll be like a form of rejection too, of anger, that rejection, disconnect, fragmented from family, always angry. Then they find someone that they love, and then she, the waihina falls in love with him too, because he put his best foot forward. And then when they're solid in the relationship, that's when the ugly starts to manifest. And then before you know it, he's taking it out on his partner that had nothing to do with his past, none whatsoever. Yeah. So I see a lot of men come into our group sessions and what we call uncover, discover, recover. So it's like when we do whakawhanaungatanga, we talk about, give a brief about who we are, where we're from, and why we're there. And we give one high for the week and one low for the week. Mm-hmm. Then, some fellas take a while to cotton on to that because they feel vulnerable, and they see vulnerability as weak, and so they'll just sit here like that, looking around. And it's not until the 2-3 weeks on, that's dropped, and then he's talking about his high and low, and then hugging everyone that comes in the door, hugs, all that sort of stuff. Now he knows he's in a safe place. He's not alone in his anger. Mm-hmm. He's not alone in his separation. All of us have been through there. That's like the for me. And so I'm further up the road now. Mm-hmm. So when these young fellas come in, all of us fellas that are up the road, we all walk down there and walk to this man. Mm-hmm. So we don't point him to the direction. We walk him there, talk him there, and stay with him there till he gets it. Mm. That's it. Yeah.
Man, and some of those things that you share while you're walking is, you said at the start, nuggets. Yeah. You've got some nuggets throughout your journey. And what's one of those nuggets or tools that you share within these spaces?
Well, actually, there's 3 of them. Right. Like we start off like there's, I write it up on a board, there's knowledge, and there's comprehension, and there's wisdom.
Okay.
So I ask these young tāne, what is knowledge? And they, Matua, you're knowledgeable. And I said, well, to tell you the truth, it's only information. Mm-hmm. So knowledge is information. He says, yeah. And then I go, and what's comprehension? Then one fellow goes, understanding. Says, yes, understanding. And then I says, well, get to the wisdom later. So here I am planting seeds of hope in you, giving you information that I've gathered for myself to give to you. And then the comprehension is I'm telling you, I'm giving you an understanding of the information I've just given you so you can decipher for yourself. So, is that what that is, Matua? What's the, how come I get angry? And I said to him, well, because you choose to be angry. And he goes, that's not fair, Matua. My missus, she didn't say what she said. I says, you chose to be angry.
It's a choice.
It was your choice. I said, you can be proactive or reactive. Yeah. And then they said, well, what's wisdom? And I said, well, the knowledge that you've got, the information that you've got, and the understanding of what you got, wisdom is in the application of that information and understanding that you have. Yeah. That's it. I don't fill the boys up with all this word stuff. Just those three.
Simplify it, eh?
Yeah. And so every time they come in the group, because I wipe it off the whiteboard, okay, the 3 words, what are they? Knowledge, comprehension, wisdom. They know it. So there's a start, they know those 3 words. And then I say, what is knowledge? Then they rattle it off. And what is comprehension? They rattle that off. And what is wisdom? They rattle that off. So when they come up for their court appearances, they do it for 14 weeks. The judge is going to ask them, what have you learned in their course? Because before they just, it was all right.
Yeah.
The judge says, is that it? Yeah, that was all right. So we prepare the men for court. So when they go to court, the judge
will ask, got this. What have you learned? Well, knowledge.
Yeah, that's right.
Knowledge is information. Comprehension is understanding, and wisdom is application.
Just those 3 things. I'm not a complicated person. I like simple things.
Do you think that's a trait of men, though, is simplicity is better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the opposite to simple is. I don't know.
Complex.
That's the word. Okay, break that down again.
What, breaking down complex?
Yeah.
Confused?
Yeah. I think that's a word that a lot of the men will understand. Confused is that. So just speaking in layman's terms.
Right.
They're not using the big language, court language, but speaking in layman's terms. They understand it.
So it becomes like a language, bridge where that's language that they understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Right. So you're breaking down the language barriers, eh?
Breaking down language barriers there, so they can get an understanding. You'd say complex.
Yeah.
They'd be too afraid to answer that just to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So if you break it down, then it's simple. They can answer it.
Man, this is great. And so the proactive and reactive, can you describe an example that you've seen or used where in one instance you've been proactive and in another instance you've been reactive?
So we have triggers. We know we we're going to get angry. Your body will tell you, and your partner knows too because you get the side eye. You got all that going on. Just the look. And so for instance, I'll talk about myself and my wife. So my wife had this habit of cooking kai that was just good for me, but she'd always leave a spoonful of peas in the pot, a spoonful of potatoes, and 1 sausage in the pan.
Just put it on the plate.
Yeah. Around. Yeah. What did you dish around again? But this is all bad boys do that. Yeah, but then all the clothes on the floor.
Yeah. To something.
And then I go outside and said, what did I do that for?
Yeah.
And I'm calling myself a dick and everything. What did you do that for, man?
Yeah.
And I had this voice tell me, says, now you go back in there and you grab this pot scrap those potatoes, stick it on the plate, put the peas on the plate, sausage on the plate. Problem solved.
Done. Yeah.
So what that voice was telling me was, stop sweating the small stuff. Stop sweating the small stuff. Now, my wife still does it, but I don't react anymore.
Yes.
Because I know that she's used to doing that. So that's her buzz, and I'm not going to upset that buzz. So I'm just going to say, oh, I'll just have that for a snack afterwards, babe.
Yeah.
And she says, you want me to pack it away for you, babe? Yeah, thank you.
Communication. That's so great. I think something that's similar for me in my own experiences, I would go toilets and, I would leave the toilet seat up, and then I'll just carry on doing my thing. And then my wife would just get, really upset about that. It was like, man, put the bloody seat down, because now she has to do extra admin for herself before she goes to the wharepaku. And in my mind, it was a small thing. Yeah. But I realized for her, it was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And so my approach to be more proactive was, okay, let me just have a mimi and let me just put the bloody seat back down. Yeah. And then same thing, problem solved. But one thing that I noticed within that whole exchange was that there was no validation, there was no acknowledgement of me changing things up to sort of suit her. And I think that's a big part of this whole journey of, I guess, being a changed man is a lot of the time it goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it doesn't get recognized immediately anyway.
Well, what you should do there, the answer to that is you validate everything she does.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, brother.
Cool. Man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And is there something that you teach around as well, or shares just around validation and celebration of self and others? Or
yeah, you heard about the kumara, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Kumara doesn't talk about his own sweetness. You talk to her about her sweetness.
Her sweetness.
And then she'll reciprocate when she's ready.
When she's ready. Man, this is amazing. One of the last things that I want to share, or I guess have a kōrero to you about, maybe two things, is like you spoke about integrity, and then I really liked your approach to that, and it's aligned to accountability. Can you speak just a bit about that, please?
Yeah, integrity, like I had none. When you're a criminal, you got no integrity, lie, cheat, steal, all that sort of stuff. There's nothing ticker about that at all. And even when I made changes in my life, people still didn't trust me because it was ingrained in me, and still didn't trust me. And police didn't trust me. I couldn't get into the prison. And so I didn't worry about what people thought about me. I just had to do what I needed to do to keep myself clean. So I see, even like drugs. When you have an addict say that I'm in recovery, well, I don't say that. I say I have recovered.
I have recovered.
Not in recovery. I have recovered, and it's the same with I've. The last time I was in court was as a convicted criminal. Was a district court judge, Judge Rutherford Paul. He was going to send me to jail, but he never. And he said to me, I actually brought his coat with me. I was meant to talk about him today. And I've got this favorite fishing jacket that was given to me by his family. Now, Judge Rutherford Paul looked at my record, and he looked at me, and he said to me, Pike, I'm not going to send you to jail. But if you ever turn up to my court where I'm the presiding judge, prison is going to be your future. So that was the last time I've ever turned up to that courthouse as a convicted criminal. I took every word as gospel. And then that was, he was part of my change. Plus having the wider experience. Well, all these things were happening for me. Like I was being blessed for left, right, and center. So the integrity for me is high on my list, that people trust me. They trust me. A petrol card. I got a car that's, a work car that's 2 years old. It's like I've been elevated. They know that they can trust Matua. And I go, when I was out on the road, I used to deal with a lot of women, And so my integrity had to be strong there. So if I'm dealing with a woman, I make sure I'm in a public setting, that there's a lot of witnesses around. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or I have somebody with me. So that's how I protect myself. But anything that people may misconstrue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one, because my older brother and I look like twins. And my older brother was at the local pub, and my daughter's mates saw him there.
Saw me.
And they rang up, says, hey, your dad's down here, and he's with another woman. She says, no, don't be stupid. Says, I'm telling you, it's
He's
your
right
dad.
here.
That's not Auntie Rowe. There's another woman there. She goes down there. Says, that's my uncle.
It's unks.
Gosh, it looks just like your dad. So there's that sort of thing, because sometimes he gets mistaken for me, and I get mistaken for him.
Yeah.
So it's all about integrity, you know. So I guard that jealously.
Yeah,
my relationship with my wife, so much so that, you know, it's almost like a real spiritual thing with us too. You know, we made a plan that if she died before me, I talked to my girls about this. I said, when she goes to the mortuary, I don't want no man touching your mother, no man looking on her nakedness. I want a woman to do it. So I'm the only man that's had that privilege of looking on my wife's tupapaku. So that's how I made it. That's how it is, you know. So if you go into my Facebook page, you'll see I lift my wife up all the time. You know, I sing her praises. You know, she's only small Tassie. She's 5 years younger than me. She's got 9 sisters, and I got the pick of the litter.
You got the pick of the litter. Too good, Phil. Last question. I've got a kaupapa, and it's called Brother to Brother, and it's around brotherhood. It's around these kinds of conversations. It's around, just being in side by side, pakiwi ki te pakahiwi. And so, in your words, how important is that? How important is brotherhood? How important is it to have that kind of space for men to be able to kōrero?
So it's a must. I mean, in the gangs we had the brotherhood too, but there was a different flavour. It was a different atmosphere, totally different to the brotherhood now. You know, I'm a part of your brotherhood, and you're a part of mine. You know, you're not us and them. We're one and the same.
That's right.
That's the way I see it. So brotherhood is very important. You know, when I'd like for you to come into our group and see how we do at some stage, and then you'll see the brotherhood in action. Yeah, because some of them in different gangs, and yet they're embracing each other. You know, with their hey bro, you know, that sort of stuff, because they know they're in a safe environment and they won't be judged. You know, it's okay to shake his hand. It's okay to hug. You know, and it's okay to say, "Oh, I love you, bro. Hey, I love you too, bro." We say that a lot. You know, even the men that rang me from prison today while I was up on the stage. You know, and he says, "Oh, it's just me, Matua. Just thought I'd clock in." So I going on. So I did all right.
While you're up on stage?
Yeah. Oh, before they started.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I've got to go now because I'm up next. He says, "Oh, okay, Matua. So we do karakia first day?" Yeah, okay. So just keep being connected, answering your phone, you know, and be intentional. You know, have something positive to say to that person that's just rung you from his prison cell. Oh, I wouldn't say that, prison cell. No, they put you by the in the visitors' room. Because if he was ringing his prison cell, that means he's got a cell phone. And they heard Matua Phil's voice on there.
Oh man, this has been like one of the most wholesome kōrero, Matua Phil, and I've really just enjoyed sharing the space with you and feel very privileged to have that kōrero being shared for the listeners of the show. No doubt a lot of it's going to resonate with a lot of people, but I just want to thank you for the path that you've been on. You know, you defied many odds, and you know, you're a man who's making the most of that by using it as a tool or as an experience to share that with others who are walking similar paths. And no doubt you've helped many people. And I think that probably just adds more value to the reason as to why you do things. But again, for you to say that you're a safe man for other people to have that kind of attitude or feeling towards you, no doubt comes back to this word, being content. So Iringi Tera, thank you so much for being here, and definitely keen to stay connected.
Well, it was a privilege actually to finish off with the integrity. I was awarded the King's Order of Service Medal.
Wow.
So what does that say about integrity?
Mm.
They don't just give it to anyone.
No.
So obviously, they've done some research on me, and and heard from other people as well.
Mm.
And so that came out of left field. I didn't think I was in their caliber, to be honest, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm just doing my mai, just doing my mai. I've been given a job to do my mai.
Mm.
If I got sacked from my job,
you still do it.
I've still got my work, because my work is who I am.
Yeah.
Hey. So it's been wonderful talking to you, Raniera.
Mm.
So we'll stay in touch.
We will.
Yeah, I think you do well at our Safe Man, Safe Family National Hui. You could talk to a lot of young men in there about change and how they came about that change.
Yeah. Awesome. And one thing before that I'm going to work on is just my language barriers and just really try and simplify things a whole lot more. But other than that, thank you so much. And I know you got to shoot off, but again, ngā mihi nui kia koe.
Aye.
Choice.
Thank you very much.
Tēnā tātai.
Kia ora.
Boom.